I'm pleased to note that we've been able to agree and pass on the 19th package of sanctions today. Europe has already reduced by more than 80% its energy ties with Russia, and by the end of 2027
It is a wide-ranging and extensive package that hits at the heart of the Russian war economy. And in parallel, the United States is proceeding with its own set of sanctions on Russia.
The second topic today was support for Ukraine. Mr. Putin continues his war of aggression against Ukraine, and we've had again bombardments and attacks by Russia in Ukraine. He is not willing to engage in serious negotiations, so we Europeans have to draw the necessary consequences with both our partners on this and on the other side of the Atlantic. And I'm pleased to note that we've been able to agree and pass on the 19th package of sanctions today. Europe has already reduced by more than 80% its energy ties with Russia, and by the end of 2027 we aim to end them once and for all. This has been decided today with the 19th package of sanctions. And I welcome the fact that the United States, too, have decided to take substantive new sanctions against the Russian energy sector. This is an important message addressed to President Putin, that we aim to increase the pressure on Russia on both sides of the Atlantic. And why do we do so? Because we want to impress upon President Putin that a continuation of that war of aggression does not make any sense. We increase the pressure on Russia in order to increase its willingness to engage in negotiations and to agree on a ceasefire. Ukraine needs a reliable perspective, especially with regard to military equipment. This is the signal of strength that we Europeans have to send out today. I provided an impulse for this, as you may know, at the end of September. Today we decided to draft all possible options by the next European Council, which will take place on the 18th of December. By then, these will have to be submitted. And a final point, the third important topic today was strengthening our own European defense capabilities. We aim to simplify European defense industry to standardize and scale up this industry. But if we are to achieve a genuine scaling up, we also have to simplify rules in the area of defense. I therefore called for an agreement to be reached on the defense omnibus by the end of the year. I asked for this. The German government has a very clear, unequivocal position on this, and we expect a similar response from the European Union. The definition of capability targets remains the task of NATO. Complying with these objectives is the task that is incumbent on the member states of the European Union. And the EU must not duplicate these. On the member states of NATO, the EU is not meant to duplicate these tasks. It can and must make a contribution to strengthening the defense capability of Europe where it has competences of its own, for example, when it comes to accelerating planning and permitting procedures. And I spoke out in favor of us setting a deadline by the end of the year in order to agree on this important defense omnibus.
Let me also start with Ukraine. Indeed, this morning we adopted the 19th sanctions package. It is a wide-ranging and extensive package that hits at the heart of the Russian war economy. And in parallel, the United States is proceeding with its own set of sanctions on Russia. So these are two very welcomed moves at the same time. Because, of course, together with our partners and allies, we have a greater impact. And we will keep up pressure on Russia for as long as it takes, just as we've always said that we will stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes to secure an end to the killing and a just and lasting peace. This was also today our message to President Zelensky. We had a good discussion on the reparations loan to be financed with the immobilized Russian assets, and it allowed us to identify points we still need to clarify. And then, indeed, we will come back with the different options that we will develop. Let me underline again, we will always respect European and international law while we are taking this work forward that we've just described. Now, indeed, our second topic was defense. And we had a very positive discussion today on the roadmap of readiness for Readiness 2030. The roadmap, as you know, identifies the capability gaps we have in the European Union, very closely coordinated with NATO, of course. And the roadmap describes objectives and different milestones and deadlines to reach our goal to fill these capability gaps by 2030. It is a 360 degrees approach, so the principle is very simple. Our security is about protecting our borders. Today it is in the east, but tomorrow it might be in the south. So it is started as a real 360-degree approach. The flagship projects that we have identified are a very clear example for this. They are pan-European, they are cross-cutting in nature, and of course they can be projects of common European interest. You mentioned the Drone Alliance, or, for example, the Eastern Flank Watch, but also the space defense or the air shield, the European air shield, are typical examples. Now, very important in the discussion was the fact that, as we will have with the roadmap, a surge in defense expenditure, it is for us very important that these defense investments are an engine for growth. In other words, we want a return on investment. It's going to be billions and billions, actually 800 billion, up to 800 billion till 2030. And we want a very clear return on investment by creating jobs here in the European Union and having research and development here in the European Union. So Europe must be responsible for its own defense as a strong transatlantic security and fully aligned with NATO.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले.
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.